get a little bit of the 17 meter band as well. So I mean, it does a decent job, and that's sort of my bench antenna. And I can drag the cable over there, and I don't have to worry about fussing with the tuner as much.
Oh yeah, very good. Well, you see, now that's just about what I'm looking for. I'm not. I believe when I started, was there a 17 meter band? I thought it was like the tri-bander was 10, 15, 20, but and then 40, 80, and 160. But oh well, there you go. Yeah, I'm looking at this Icom, and there's frequencies in there, and I'm going, what the heck are those? I didn't use them. I don't care about them. Sorry, guys, but. Seeing as how I'm hearing all these nice things or good things about 40 meters and 20 meters, I'm thinking, well, why not? But I got a very small backyard, extremely small. It's an even smaller front yard, but I'm there. And I did hear someone say something about a tower problem or insurance and whatever. Why doesn't somebody volunteer? But I don't have enough space, although I do have a 50-foot tube tower that I could probably donate to the cause.
No, I can see your issue there, and I know before the wife and I moved here, the place we had was let me think here. 60 by 165. I had good neighbors. They let me tie into their trees and stuff. I had 6 meters there, and then I had an antenna that I strung up, just a long wire antenna I strung up, and I used it for 80 through 10. And I've always had to contend with a tuner, so that's not a big issue for me. And my Delta loop here, I got that fed with 300 ohm line, so that's a whole different kettle of fish. That is.
I didn't even know we had 300. Well, I suppose we do have 300 ohm line, but what does that do for your power out or for your match?
Needless to say, I've got a tuner in the shack, but that's 300 ohm TV line. You know the old TV flat line? That's all I'm using there, and the stuff is tough as nails. I've been really impressed with the way it holds up. And I got this antenna in a triangular shape, and feeding it with a 300 ohm line, and then in the shack I got it hooked into a tuner. I plug the antenna analyzer in and tweak it until it's flat, and then plug the transmitter in and turn up the volume and rip off the knob.
There you go. How long is that line? Because I've got some, not very much, maybe about 30 or 40 feet of, it looks to be about half to 5/8 hard line if you're interested.
Oh, hard line. Oh, that would be nifty stuff for other things like 900 megahertz.
Yeah, I don't have 900 megahertz, so I'm not too worried. But I picked it up from a friend of mine who, I'm looking to donate it to a good home.
What are you thinking, asking for it?
I'm looking to donate it to a good home.
Really? And you said, what, 30 feet, or how much did you have there?
Well, it's looped up. There's about 4 or 5 coils, and it's about 4 or 5 feet. So what's that? Ballpark about 30 feet.
Very interesting. Yeah, most of the stuff I got here, I got about 50 feet up. I'd have to see that to see what was there, and then you're into a whole different kettle of fish as far as hooking up connectors to it. I got 1 or 2 of those floating around here though, the end connectors that go on that, and that's really what I should be using for the 900 megahertz, and probably, if the truth be known, 440 as well.
Yeah, I use 9913 coax for my 440 and my 2 meter up the tower. When I was at my other house, when I really use it a lot, the antenna come down, etc., come into the shack and hook into the first outlet. I had almost 130 feet of line for both of them. So a regular RG8 or something just have too much losses. So I use the 9913. Yeah, hardline would have been better, but at 130 feet, I couldn't afford it then. I can't afford it now.
Well, tell me about it. I'm running, trying to think here, 213 on my 900 megahertz antenna. I got an 8-element Yagi that I built and stuck up on the top of my TV tower here, and sadly, tragically, an error in judgment. I got it pointing in the wrong direction, and the pattern on that thing is just tighter than Oprah's girdle.
How do you know Oprah wears a girdle?
Really, though, I mean, like, if I don't have it, reasonably close to wherever the signal's supposed to be, that's, it's not going to work well. I also got a collinear that I just built for 900, and hopefully, if it ever stops raining, if it ever warms up, I might be tempted to go out and do some testing on that as well.
Roger on that. Well, you helped me make something for, like I say, I've got this Balam, I've got this, I'd like a couple of bands, like 10, 20, 40, 80 or something like that, just so I can fool around on HF when I want to, and of course during the winter when 2 meters and 6 and 432 peters out pretty good. So yeah, but other than that, you're welcome to whatever I got as far as that hardline is concerned. I really don't know the exact length. When I looked at it at first, I said, it's not enough to go up the side of my tower, but it might be enough for, like I say, about a 30-foot run or so.
Well, if you want like, an off-center fed dipole, the trick there, you go to the TSC store and you get electric fence insulators. Oh, they're expensive. I think it cost me something like $3 for a plastic bag full of things. And then you make a little feed point, and then you get some wire. That's the other thing, getting some insulated wire, preferably. This 160 delta loop here is 550 feet of wire up, and all it is a bunch of stuff that was tore out of a bunch of conduits in a factory somewhere, and they took all the wire and they threw it in a big honking cardboard box, and my son-in-law nabbed that for me. So there's a whole boatload of Western Union joints in this wire.
Yeah, there you go. Well, when I first put that first wire up, I went and got some porcelain insulators. So I still have 3 or 4, and I've been saving them for the day when I put this thing back in the air. But that was 1999 when I took it all down. So here we are, 2020. So you got to figure it's a good 20 years since. So what I knew then, I couldn't even remember now. So. It's like I can't even program these radios. They're so weird.
I think I know where you're at. Yeah. Boy, I'll tell you that was one thing with this Icom and this Yaesu that I really enjoyed. Oh boy, I just plug this cable in and download the memory off the radio. Make whatever changes I want, dump it back into the radio, keep a copy. If the thing pukes somewhere along the line, and it will, you just reload it. Yeah, that's a game changer.
Hey, now that you mention it, I think there's an Ethernet cable connector on the back of these two. I'm not sure. I know there is on one of them. I've seen it. So maybe maybe I can fool around with a computer that way. But having said that, I told you I had this Yaesu. It's an FT101ZD, and I have the transverter for 2 meter, 6 meter, and 432 in it, and that's how I got into the weak signal stuff. And I liked it so much, I kept those, and then I bought, like I say, the 2 meter all mode, and then I could work 2 bands at the same time. Wow! And then I got the Icom, and I could work 3 bands at the same time. And then I realized, no, I can only work 1 at a time. It seems silly to have 3 of them, but hey, you know, if one caps out now, I can always fall back on the other.
Oh yeah. I got 2 old HF stations here, 2 old Drakes. I got a Kenwood 440 sitting here, and then I got this Icom and the Yaesu sitting here, and then I got a 706. And then there's the receivers. I've got a realistic DX150A, an SX190, a DX300, and a Raytheon. It's an old direction finder.
Okay, all those with sensitive ears, turn them now. Forewarned is forearmed. The only other 2 pieces of equipment I have, I did tell you I used to have an old set of Heathkit twins. Just last December, there's a guy in near Montreal who takes old Sugar Baker 200, 201s and stuff and converts them into 6 meters. So I got one of those for a 6 meter. Only gets about 300 watts out, but you know what? I'm the type of guy who said, yeah, I'd love to run a kilowatt. I really would. Trouble is, I don't think my equipment can hear what the kilowatt will get. So, the only good thing about a kilowatt would be during a band opening, because you'll be heard, and if you can hear the other guy, that's fine. But when it comes to ground wave, any more than a couple hundred watts, people will hear you, but you won't hear them. So, and then the last thing I got an old Johnson Messenger 352, 24 channel. And for all those, I said, cover your ears. Yeah, the good old days when I could play with my Johnson all I wanted.
Oh, yeah, Johnson. I might have one of those kicking around here too. A lot of this old stuff, like yeah, I've got it sitting here. Some of it doesn't work, and that's the sad part of it. If you don't use it all the time too, that it can sit there in the closet for like umpteen years and then it quits working. Yeah, I've had a couple of those over the years. But yeah, Johnson Messenger. I had one of those. I think it was 15 channel or something. I forget what model it is. They're neat. They made some nice equipment, and everybody had the old radio scrap stuff.
And I never bought a non-realistic radio. Anyway, unrealistic. There you go. I never owned one. I bought that Messenger. It's a sideband and AM. Yeah, there's no FM on there. It was AM and sideband, and that's really what, like I say, my neighbor across the apartment way, he was on top of his building, I was on top of mine. We couldn't help but cross-channel the heck out of each other, so there you go. And I used to like it. I hooked the D104 up to it, and when I splattered across the whole band, everybody used to come up and say, hey, turn off your amplifier. And I said, hey, all I got's 4 watts. The D104 sure has good audio.
Yeah, I remember my dad one time was down in Florida, and he picked up this 100-watt linear, and that thing is just septic, splatter like mad, and I've seen a lot of those things kicking around up here. The guys that have gone over to the stateside and got them. And, you're tooling down the street in a car, and you key up your mobile, and you watch all the garage doors open up.
Yeah, as funny as that sounds, I used to do that with my 2-meter radio with the 130-watt amp in the car, and I would open and close the McDonald's drive-through window. They have those electronically controlled ones. I could open and close them using the linear.
You want something scary? My old Cougar, I had, I'm trying to think of what rate, the 2000 in it, so it's only a 25 watt. But tooling down the road, cruise control on, 401, key the mic in the car, and the car would accelerate.
But officer, it wasn't me. Oh, that's hilarious. Well, I used to. Some people activate islands. I used to activate grids, and I was with my first wife, and we were going up somewhere past near somewhere around Sudbury to open up a couple of those grids, and I don't know why, but we stopped at a Zellers, Kmart. I know that's going back a while, but regardless, we stopped there, and she went into the store, and when I fixed up the car, I got on the radio and started testing it, calling CQ, and my wife came out and said, "They're going crazy in there, get off the radio. They can hear me calling CQ inside the store."
Well, and I made reference to that car. There was some people driving, I think they were Toyotas, that would just all of a sudden go crazy, and the throttle would open up, and they'd end up upside down somewhere. I had a 1990 Mustang with a 302 in it, and fuel injected, and I was coming out of the parking lot at work one night, and just all of a sudden, all by itself, the throttle went down to the mat.
Somebody had some sort of electronics that gave you a thrill. I never owned the last Mustang I owned was a 73.
Mustang turbo too, a little 4-banger turbo. Well, that thing would go like stink. And then I got the 5-liter. What amazed me was the 5-liter didn't use as much gas as that turbocharger did.
That is amazing, isn't it? I had a 2 point, trying to think here, it was a minivan. I think 2.7, 2.6 6-cylinder Ford, and it was a 96, 97, something like that. And when I finally, or 2003, sorry, I turned it in a couple of years ago and got a 2009 GM Montana, and it was a almost 3-liter, 2.9. And the guy said to me, "You watch, this will get better gas mileage than your old car." And I'm surprised it did. I don't get it.
That 5-liter I used to get like on a run somewhere. I'd get about 32 miles to the gallon with it. And then I get about 35 with the car we're driving now. It's a Ford Escape. It's got a 4-banger in it with 16 valves. I had to laugh because when we got it, I said to the wife, I said, it's amazing. I said, this car has the same size engine in it as my bike's got.
Well, you know why you got such good gas mileage here, right?
I just found it strange that the thing goes like stink. That thing really runs nice, but I thought, gee, It's a wonder that it doesn't get a little bit better mileage. Not that I'm complaining a whole lot, but hey, it runs.
Yeah, well, that's around here. Like I first time I moved to Essex County, if you will, was 1979, and I lived here for 4 years. And I even said when I moved away, I said, you know what? When the time comes, I'm coming back here to retire, and damned if I didn't. But the car I had here at the time was an 8-cylinder Firebird, and like you say, I'm pretty sure I got close to 32 miles to the gallon. And I moved to Peterborough, and I'm going, why am I only getting 24, 25 miles to the gallon? And I figured it out after.
Word, hills.
Oh, a whole mess of hills.
Oh, that 32 miles to the gallon, that was like, 401, cruise control on, just sit back and let her run. But my problem with the turbo was that, I kind of like the sound of that turbo when it kicks in, maybe a little too much.
Did they call you Leadfoot? But yeah, I hear you. I bought my wife a Subaru four-wheel drive with a turbo. Oh my God! When that thing kicked in, you're right. It was pretty good. It was I got busted for speeding in it. I was trying to say to the cop, it's a 1400 or 1500 cc. It can't go that fast.
Well, and they've come a long way with those too. But that 80, I'm trying to think here, 84, an 84 turbo Mustang that I had. Used to have to let it sit there and idle for, I don't know, a minute or so when you park it. Otherwise, like the darn thing is still hot when you shut it off, and the turbo pukes on it after a while. And I never had any turbocharger problems, so. But yeah, you stand on that throttle and you hear it just like somebody started up another motor. Wow, this is scary.
Not a good old days. Now I'm happy. I'm content now just to do 50 miles an hour.
Content that you still got a license, yeah. Yeah. I don't go that route anymore, and I probably don't push the bike as hard as I used to. But still, I get out there and go with it. And the XYL, and I try to put as many miles on that thing in the summer as we can. I don't know, just something different about it. And I like to go to places where there's hills and rocks and trees and kind of a different environment,
Absolutely, and lots of curves and stuff, yeah. Algonquin Park, or parts of it anyways. Yeah, it's, what can I say, nostalgia is it's deadly. What do you mean, good thing I got my license? They haven't taken it away from me yet. I'm not old enough, or at least I don't think I am, but there you go. I only just retired 3 years ago, so yeah, this year will be 3 years. So there you are. I'm just a spring chicken. Hi.
Well, I sort of took my parole back in 2002. I was still 49 years old at the time.
Yeah, was that in dog years or human years? Okay, 2002, huh?
It's a little older than that, but yeah. Really, I'm sitting there watching all the stuff on the news right now and thinking, oh, thank God I don't have to worry about going into work. That would really suck.
Yeah, it's funny. the first year that I was retired, I missed work. Like, I really missed work. And then last year, I got kind of sort of like a part-time thing, 2 or 3 hours a day. Didn't really much, didn't mean much. Didn't make a whole lot of money. And this year, I don't have that, and I'm so glad. I tell you, isn't that funny?
My experience was more like, you hear that, Toto? We're going home. We're going home. And no, I didn't miss it at all. No, that's that's a good thing. I got quickly busy with a whole bunch of other stuff too. That's the problem that a lot of people have. They retire and then they don't do much. They got a case of beer sitting on the coffee table and they watch TV. And then a couple of years later, they're on the dark side of the grass.
Well, I don't have the beer, but I got a TV. No, that's the other reason I wanted these antennas back up, so I could get more. When I was into this heavier, if you will, like, gung-ho, I would even take weekends off, take 20 or 30 feet of tower, some antennas, and drive 300 miles, set it all up, and play radio in the middle of nowhere. My personal record, I was north of, I won't say Montreal or Ottawa, but somewhere in between, north of them, in Quebec, and I contacted Andy, N8ANS, N8ANS, I can't remember his call now, but he's in Cleveland, and when I got home, I worked it out. It's 525 air miles. I don't know if we had conditions or whatever, but I was running, I think, only an 8-element 2-meter beam. Now, I did park on the side of a hill. I don't know if that, and in north of Ottawa and stuff, that'd be small mountains. So I was parked on a hill and managed to work them, and thought that was a pretty good haul.
Wife and I, when we went out to the East Coast, coming into Rimouski, Quebec, and worked a guy over in, it was in the Ukraine someplace, with a thundering, planet-destroying 15 watts out of the car. That's all that I could run that rig on, because that circuit for that cigarette lighter just didn't take the gas.
Now, cigarette lighters just can't take a joke. That's what band were you on?
20.
Must have been one hell of a wire hanging out the back end of the car.
Really, I had a chicken bander antenna, which I had put a little fitting on the end of it and a little extra piece of wire on it. A 20-meter antenna for the car is nothing. That's easy to make. 20 meter, 15 meter, 10 meter, 10 meter, obvious. But yeah, that's easy to make for a car.
Well, there you go. See, I wouldn't mind running 10. Well, I don't know. You see, back when I remember it, like I say, I didn't use it. My friend in Ottawa, I can't even remember his call. I can remember his name, but I can't remember his call. However, 10 was pretty good, and I kind of enjoyed. And I thought, yeah, that'd be good to have in the car. But I've heard recently 10 is pretty dead.
Yeah, as a doornail. I haven't heard any activity up there for a long while. I got a couple of old chicken banders that I converted over for that. Oh gosh, that would have to be 25 years ago, if not more. And just 12 watts in the car, and yeah, that worked out okay. Don't take much, and then again, you can go back to the old days. You can get yourself one of those linears. if you cause any, interference, you'll be gone down the road before they realize what it is.
Yeah, that was the only difficulty with 11 meters. The obstruction to TV signals was horrendous. I remember I was in an apartment. I lived on the 14th floor, and the landlord allowed me to put up 2 antennas on the top of the 20th floor, and they even helped me run the coax down the side of the building, believe it or not. And it was easy. I was in Ottawa, and I could get into Montreal without too much trouble on any given day. So it was. I was really high up, but almost everybody would come and find me on Channel 22 and say, "Hey, turn that thing off. You're wiping us out on Channel 8." Like, I'm going, well, it's not my problem. I'm running, and I had people come over. 4 watts is all they could find.
No.
When I first started playing around on sideband, I had my favorite sideband call, TVI 259. That's for television interference on Channel 2, Channel 5, and 9.
That's pretty good. I wouldn't even have thought of doing something like that. That's funny. Oh, it sounds like the guy with the walkie-talkie found us.
Especially when I first got into sideband, because back then, holy smoke, just worked people all over the place for that. And I know my dad had picked up this Midland, and then he picked up, it was a Midland, and he picked up a General Electric. And we converted both of them so that they had those, 80 extra channels in them. And we picked a channel that we thought would be appropriate. And when he'd go to Florida every Sunday morning, I'd give him a yell. And we actually made the connection a couple of times. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing how, and I guess we can talk about it. I got busted on 915, I think it was. 27915 busted. They came. They said they gave me transcripts, and I said, okay, fine, I'll get my ham ticket.
Talking to a couple of guys one night over in Ohio, and I don't know. You remember 3WE? I forget what frequency it was on, but he said him and one of his buddies, and 3WE used to go off the air at midnight for maintenance, and he said during the day they recorded commercials and everything from 3WE, and then after the regular station went off the air, they put theirs up. They went on with that for I don't know how many months, and then one day. The black cars, guys wearing black suits and sunglasses, and it wasn't pretty.
We used to give the guys in Ottawa a hard time with that. There was about 4 of us that we probably all lived within a mile of each other and had pretty good stations, but when we knew one of them was going to be in trouble, the other 3 of us would get on and try to sound as much as we could like him. And he even said one day they were almost at his door, and then all of a sudden they all hightailed it in another direction because that's when they realized they were at the wrong house. They're actually at the right house, but they didn't know it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. But I had to laugh at this guy telling me about that. He said all these feds show up at his place, and he's like 16, 17 years old, and the only image that was coming through his head at the time was you know, some tall, heavy-set fella saying, well, pretty boy, it looks like you and me is going to be cellmates.
Yeah, that would be not the image I'd want in my head at any time.
So we've all done things that maybe weren't the proper color, as it were. Anyway, that was a long time ago. Hey, statute of limitations, please. Anyway, I should get rolling here. I got a few things I want to tidy up, and then I'm going to head upstairs and, I don't know, maybe sit around with the wife for a little while.
Very good, George, and let me tell you, what a pleasure. Thank you very much for keeping me company. I'm still waiting for my wife to call to say, come pick her up from work, so that's my story, and I'm sticking with it, but maybe I can find 147 120 or whatever that is in Chatham and see if that'll work. I can handle this radio inside the house better than the one in the car, so we'll see what we can do. Anyways, enjoy your evening. I'm going to. I mentioned it earlier. I'll mention it again. I'm going to see if it'll be okay with the people. Maybe do some sort of trivia afternoon or something. I've got an old Trivial Pursuit game which has about 7,000 or 8,000 questions, and I'm sure we can't go through all of them, even if this thing lasts for months. So I don't know, maybe have a little competition or something. So it breaks the monotony of the day, that's for sure. 7-3 for now. Have yourself a great evening, and I'll look forward to our next time. The A3 TPD from the A3 IKE.
Take her easy, enjoy the evening, and we'll catch you for the downlog. VA3 IKE from VE3 TPD. We're clearing this one. Take care.